Hey everyone, welcome back to Gray Area's Artist Spotlight series. Today we have the one and only Emanuel Satie who's based in Portugal, born and raised in Germany though. Emmanuel, how you doing today, man? Thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to have a conversation with us.
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm doing very well over here in beautiful sunny Lisbon.
Eh,
Spring has arrived already here.
don't we love that? We love that so much. Well, so getting into spring, how was the winter months for you? Were they filled with producing? Were they filled with touring? What did you have going on?
Was really a lot of touring. Normally, I do my winters. I used to spend my winters. I used to do some tours in South America and stuff, but I was mostly in the studio in the winters. I loved that in Berlin, just getting tucked in the studio and being productive because you cannot really do anything else than than
Yeah,
work, during that time or sleep or be on the sofa watching TV.
yeah,
So, but no, this winter it was because the demand in the warmer countries is quite high right now.
yeah.
I was touring a lot in South America, in a lot of these countries that where it's reversed. So it wasn't much of a winter for me. It
Yeah.
was a summer. This winter was a summer for me. Yeah.
Yeah. In all of your touring across the globe, do you ever notice is there ever a cultural difference in the way that people go to dance music events, or is it kind of the same? Do people operate in the same way in all these different countries? I'm not sure. A lot of people really think of South America as a really dance music centric area, but I would love to know how those populations really interact with dance music.
It depends so much. I get asked a lot the question, which is my favorite country to play in? And it's almost impossible to say because I would say in this dance music world, it's very global and this is a culture per se.
Yeah.
So it's like what we have is kind of like it's pretty much the same all over the world. And then you have in each city, in each country, each territory, you have different types of clubs. You have the rave club, the basement rave
Yeah.
club where people just go to for the music and go crazy. Then you have the little bit the beach club maybe or the posher club,
Hmm.
where people also enjoy dressing well and to be seen and the
Yeah.
flirting aspect and all of this stuff. So, but I would say there's not so much. There are slight differences
Hmm.
in culture, but not as much as you would think.
Yeah.
It's a very global culture, our
Yeah.
dance music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when you are touring, and I guess maybe it depends on the schedule of your tour. Do you ever take time to immerse in the place that you're in and really try to get a taste of the culture while you're there?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I mean, my favorite thing is trying the local cuisine.
Oh,
That's a must always.
yeah,
I'm a big foodie, so I always make sure that I go to some really nice local places with the promoters or my friends there. And then it depends, Sometimes whenever I get the chance to, I stay a bit longer. But also when you're on tour a lot, sometimes you just want to be home or you need to be home. You need to finish some stuff at the studio. Otherwise, I would be taking pretty much holidays and just traveling on middays, for the whole
yeah.
year. And I can't do that as well. So it has to be a balance. I try to keep a balance in between exploring the world and taking advantage of all these amazing places I travel to, but
Mm.
also, of course, my responsibilities as everyone has them.
I very much understand. I have a another profession that takes me kind of all over the world at various times of the year as well, and I very much enjoy getting that opportunity, especially as a dance music enthusiast. I would love to, I'm in Germany quite a bit, and I keep telling myself I need to get into some of those clubs out there. But
Yeah.
what I do is I am a professional track and field athlete, And unfortunately, going to the club at 3 or 4 in the morning does not equate to being your best physically the next day.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, no. You need to go to the daytime parties.
Yeah, yeah, got to go to the daytime
Actually,
parties.
actually, when you're in Berlin, because in Berlin a lot of parties they might start in the evening, but they go until the evening the next day. So you might go there for a coffee next time you're in
There you
Berlin.
go. All right.
So,
Yes, I do enjoy getting to the spas though. That is my daytime activity, especially when I'm in Europe. The fact that especially sauna and just the general health and wellness aspect in Europe is something that is very much overlooked here in the United States. So I love getting to take advantage of that when I'm over there. So
okay, okay,
but
yeah,
anyway, so back to the music a little bit. So,
yeah.
when you're on the road and or even at home outside of the music, kind of what interests and passions keep you balanced, or are you just someone where, music is your lifeblood and you don't really need a break from it?
No, for me it's very much sports. It's a way to balance all of this. I do a lot of sports, and this comes from kind of I was a used to be a junior state boxing champion when I
No
was,
way.
yeah, like 16 to my most active time was like 16 to 18 or something. I was doing competitions and fights and stuff,
Yeah.
and so kind of my body is kind of used to being used and
Yeah.
working out and physical exercise, and I didn't do that for a couple years enough, and I could really feel it that it's not good for me. My body needs it, also my mind needs it.
Mhm.
So yeah, I make sure to work out every day. That's kind of a balance thing for me. Even when I'm traveling, even when I'm playing, I try to squeeze in a short workout at the hotel, even if
Yeah.
it's just at a hotel room. And of course, I have many interests that are always changing. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love to read. I like to play chess. I'm a very social person. I meet people a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm interested in many things, but that kind of, these hobbies change over time. And
Yeah.
yeah,
That's
but
awesome, man.
sports, yeah.
Do you ever get back in the ring still?
No,
You ever get the
no.
gloves back on?
I actually I when I just spent a week in Mexico City, and I had some
Mhm.
downtime between shows, and there was in the gym there was a boxing bag.
Nice.
So I did a couple of drills there. I do shadow boxing sometimes in front of the mirror, but when you've been really good at something
Yeah.
because you put in like 2 3 I don't know, you've been working on it really
Yeah.
hard, then you don't work on it so hard anymore, and then it's just not as fun anymore, especially
Yeah.
with boxing. You get punched in the face. So
Yeah.
um, I did it for fun last year with a friend, and it was fun, but no, not seriously.
Yeah, that's a rude awakening, or that's a rude reminder that you haven't been practicing your boxing when you get punched in the face.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so now really into the music. So, where did your relationship with music begin? Like kind of what are some of your earliest music memories from when you were a child?
My earliest musical memories. It was really my mom was a ballet dancer,
Okay, cool.
and she worked also with dance with kids and stuff, and she was always dancing in the living room and doing her ballet movements there and stuff. And I always loved that. And obviously there was music to it, and my father had a big record collection, so he had all these vinyls at home, a lot of like Stevie Wonder, a lot of soul music. And
Nice.
yeah, that was just yeah, I was discovering these records. I loved sitting there, just going through them, looking at them, listening to them, reading the lyrics and all that stuff. And he was also playing the piano a little bit, and I loved that as well. So it really came from my parents' passion for music and dance. That was kind of given to me. That's how I grew up.
That's awesome. What do you have did you have a favorite Stevie Wonder song that you would put on, or what was one of those first records that when you put on really captured your child Emmanuel Hart?
Yeah, Stevie Wonder. It was more than one song, but Stevie Wonder I think was my biggest, probably my biggest inspiration back then. That really touched me. That
Yeah.
I listened to all the albums all the time. I knew
Hmm.
all the lyrics,
Yeah.
and I, to be honest, I still listen to it. This is really something that's been a constant in my life. That every year I have a week or two where I just listen to some Stevie Wonder albums, some
Yeah.
old albums.
Well, it's timeless
Yeah,
music, and it's music that has very much stood the test of time. Some of those classics are songs that in any corner of the globe you put them on, and even if someone might not know like the words, they'll very much know the melody, and they'll be swaying right along with it, you know.
yeah,
And that's one of the coolest
exactly.
things about music. We love finding timeless music like that. So, well, so that was your first introduction into music, and how did your music taste kind of evolve throughout those years, throughout your childhood and into your preteen and teenage years, all and into your dance music phase?
Yeah. Well, it was the radio at first that
Hmm.
kind of, besides the record collections and the music my parents played, it was the radio. So yeah, just pop music, whatever was on the radio at that
Yeah.
time. And I think in my teenage years I discovered hip hop. There was at that time there was also MTV was doing music videos,
Yeah.
and Viva is a German channel. I don't think you
Okay.
know that probably.
I don't know Viva.
But
No.
no, yeah. So there were like two, three channels in Germany with music videos all day, pretty much, and I was just soaking that in with my friends. We're just sitting there all afternoon and looking at these music videos, and just, yeah, it was an amazing time for music, I think, because of all
Yeah.
this video content it had, and it gave the music another layer,
Yeah.
yeah, there I kind of discovered hip hop
And really
other.
quick, just for a frame of reference for the time, about like what time was this? Like what years was this in? This what was peak MTV years for you?
That must have been probably like around 2000, I would say.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
I hope I'm not completely off, but I think it was around 2000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
And
sorry to interrupt.
oh good. And yeah, and then I was actually German hip hop got popular at that time as well, and so I was like, man, I think I this in English, rapping in English, I cannot do that. But all of a sudden, there were guys in Germany rapping in German, and they were quite successful. I was thinking, let's do that, So I was
Yeah.
actually I had a little rap career.
No
I had my
way.
first, yeah, I had my first performance when I was 13 years old in a bar. I was rapping, and yeah,
Yes, dude. That's awesome. Was it part like was it a one-off show? Like were you the headliner or were you part of a showcase
was
or
no, it was a one-off show. I think I forced my classmates at that time to be in a band, and I was actually writing the lyrics for the whole group. I remember that. And I was writing the lyrics for everyone, the hooks and everything, and
yes.
said, I mean, you got to do this, you got to do that, and yeah, we got this gig. I don't remember how that went about, but it was in front of a bunch of people like kind of our age,
Yeah.
and and yeah, and then I even got picked up by some older guys that were doing hip hop already, like properly and recording stuff, and they had a
Yes,
studio,
dude.
and so I was hanging out with these older German wannabe gangsters, and doing German gangster rap.
Dude, wow, look at you go. All right. That's an awesome story. I love that. Heck yeah. How long did that kind of go on for?
Then they wanted to tour with me, and I was like 14, and it was just too much for me. It was too much. I was no,
Wow. I
yeah.
had to, what were your parents saying at the time? Were they kind of the ones that were saying like, "Hold up. You can't tour at 14." And you were like, "Come on, let me do it." Or you're like, "I don't really know if I want to be touring at 14 either."
No, it didn't even get to the point that I told them, because I was already, no, I don't want to tour. I don't want to rap in front of people,
Yeah,
and I was
yeah, yeah,
too shy. I was way too young. I
yeah.
didn't have this. Yeah, yeah, no, that wasn't for me. So I quit the group, and yeah, I got out of music. But yeah, kind of this. I remember I was extremely passionate about it. I was just carrying always like this book with me, writing
Mhm.
lyrics every day, and was very, for that age I was extremely committed, and super passionate about it. And I actually was talented also, and that spirit came back when I discovered dance music, and later I was always playing instruments. There was kind of a rule in our
Mhm.
house, we had to play an instrument,
Yeah.
and I picked up the cello a bit, picked up the bass guitar a bit, but it was more dabbling in it. The piano, I had some piano lessons, and it was only when yeah, I started going out when I was 18. I was allowed in clubs, and that I discovered house music.
Yeah.
And yeah, at
Nice,
some
man.
point, even then, I was just, as a raver, I was obsessed with the music. Back then it was minimal, was a
Yeah.
huge thing. Ricardo Villalobos, Luciano, and I was going to these after our clubs completely sober, because I was still an athlete.
Yeah.
All my friends were hammered. Everybody was on drugs,
Yeah.
in this club. I was the only person not even drinking,
Yeah.
and driving everybody home afterwards as well. And yeah, it was fast, but I loved the music so much that I had to be a part of this, and I stayed until 10 a.m., 11 a.m.,
Yeah.
completely sober
Well,
for
that
that.
that energy is infectious, you know. Even it's that's one of the coolest things about dance music is it's that music that makes you start dancing by yourself before you even knew how to dance by yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
It's very interesting that way, and it's very liberating that way, and it's easy to kind of sink into that hypnosis, even if you're not, even if you aren't on any substances whatsoever, even if you are stone cold sober, you can
Yeah,
find yourself in the you can find yourself in the thick of it for sure. But do you kind of
absolutely.
remember your first or the first dance music experience that or that first time that you went, wow, what is this music that I am hearing? What do you have like an aha moment like that?
Yeah, I think that was really with minimal techno,
Hmm.
when I was in this club and there was this music I didn't even know what it was. There were no melodies.
Yeah.
It was super simple, and then this hi-hat would start at like 2 minutes in the break, in the track, and it was like this minimal change,
Yeah.
but it would give you so much more energy, and you would just be, the whole club would be, yeah, this hi-hat coming in. That was that that was very fascinating to me. And yeah, and I have to say I really understood dance music at that point. Before, with house music, I kind of fell in love with the social aspect of it,
Hmm.
because it was such a great vibe. Everybody was in a good mood. There were no fights. There was not
Yeah.
this macho culture or something. It was very, people were very cautious, and nice to each other. So I really like that about house music. And with minimal techno, I really fell in love with the musical aspect. This, yeah, the simplicity, but how much effect it can have on you. I
Yeah.
really like that.
That's awesome, man. How like looking back at your love of hip hop and how you were getting into dance music, whether it's house music or minimal, those were two things that are very passionate about that, or that you were very passionate about. Can you maybe pinpoint any common threads between the two that might have linked that passion together, or has that ever occurred to you in the time since all of that has occurred?
Yeah, I mean, I thought about this a lot, and at some points in my life, I made this connection between all that stuff was to kind of figure out what my musical identity is.
Hmm.
But I think it's much more complicated than that. I think different times in your life, you just explore different things, and I mean, yeah. To be honest, I could create some kind of construct of a connection there, but I don't think there really is one. Like
Hmm.
in
Yeah.
terms of in terms of I always like different things, and
Yeah.
of course there is some there are some similarities between the stuff that I like, but also sometimes there are none. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'm not really sure what it
Eh,
is.
well, hey man, a diverse palette is an artist's best friend for sure.
Yeah.
Do you still listen to much or much hip hop these days?
Yeah. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. Yeah, but not sophisticated hip hop or something. No,
Yeah. I
like
love.
chart hip hop. I love to listen to Drake. I mean, I like Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah.
I like things as well. But I love me some Drake sometimes.
Oh, dude, I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you. Well, so okay, now I need to ask then, okay, because I mean I very much enjoy some Drake too. Sometimes it just one, it's catchy as all get out, and it sets a vibe. It's an absolute vibe.
Yeah,
Sometimes Drake just sets the perfect vibe. But as
yeah.
a dance music artist, I need to know, and I might be treading into to iffy territory here. What was your opinion on Drake's quote unquote dance music album?
Well, I think it was. It's not my favorite Drake album, and I since
Yeah,
then I haven't. I listened to it a couple times back then, and there are some really good tracks on there, I think. But it's not the reason why I listen to Drake is so I can get away from dance music a bit,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, yeah,
So for me, it's kind of to just clear the acoustic palette, kind of,
yeah, yeah,
and just not think of because whenever I listen to house music, I'm a little bit in work mode because I'm
hmm,
collecting ideas, I'm analyzing stuff. When I listen to Drake, it's none of that,
yeah,
And
yeah,
well, I like that album, and I think it was a great step for our bubble, for our sound. That the Kind of Music guys, for example, produced some of the tracks.
yeah,
Black Coffee was involved as a producer,
yeah,
and so I think it just shows that this sound is also is being noticed on a global and mainstream level, which I think is great.
yeah. No, I agree with you, and I like first I love that phrase you use, clearing the sonic palette. Um,
Yeah,
and I very much agree with you. That like getting um, making the sound of dance music more accessible, and letting more and more people know that that sound exists, and growing that community, I think, is very important. There's sometimes I think um, we might get caught in this like um, almost this what's the word I'm looking for? Almost like an elitist um, uh, vibe a little bit sometimes, of just thinking that our like this music is like, this is ours, it's our bubble. But it's the community, like you already said, the community is the best part about it. It's such an all-inclusive community, and getting the opportunity to grow that community by any means is really important. So I very much agree with you on that one.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how did you kind of start to transition from fan to contributor? When did you take an interest in producing and DJing, and what did that process even look like for you?
That was so I was already more interested in the music than most other people at
Hmm.
parties. I was doing research, which tracks are being played by whom, was listening to sets and trying to find out all the names of the tracks that I liked and stuff. And was also going to record shops and just buying vinyl and just starting to collect a bit. And but I had no idea how to DJ. I wasn't even thinking about the possibility of doing that back then. It was also not like it wasn't so it wasn't like you could just put up a YouTube video and find out how to DJ.
Yeah.
It was more complicated. You needed to know someone to show you or figure it out yourself. And the stuff was expensive, so I wasn't even thinking about it. So I met somebody at a party who said, who I told that I'm having all these records, at home. So he was like, "So you're a DJ as well?" And I was like, "No, I'm not a DJ. I'm just buying records." I was like, "Wait, why aren't you a DJ?" And I don't know how to do it. And he said, "Well, come to my basement and show you." So for 9 months in a row, every Saturday we would go in his basement, and I would just play for hours and hours on end, like 8 hours, just playing a
Nice.
set. And all the friends were there. We're having a nice session. I was playing music and practicing. He also got me my first small gigs and stuff, and
Nice.
took me under his wing. His name is Gigo, and now since 2 months, I am his newborn's godfather. So
No way. Wow,
yes,
what a full circle moment right there.
yeah, yeah.
Man, oh,
So
that's so cool.
yeah, so that's how I got into it. And then yeah, at some point we also simultaneously, I think we already started to produce a bit. And man, I mean, the beginnings for me were, I was a student. I was like 19. I was broke, I didn't have any money, so I bought like a 200 euro laptop at a German discounter, and
Okay.
downloaded a cracked version of Ableton, and just was just producing with the stock instruments it had. And I remember my laptop would break down every 20 to 30 minutes. It would get so hot that I had
Yeah.
to and but I actually finished my first EP like this.
Wow. Wow, that is not that's not a very congruent way of making it, but I props to you for
Yeah,
sticking with it through that process.
yeah, I was very committed.
That's cool, man. And so, you know, how in the process of creating that first EP, and learning Ableton, first of all, learning Ableton can, or really any DAW can be quite an experience in and of itself. What was your learning curve like as you were making those first tracks? And
Mhm.
can you even quantify how much your understanding of creating music has changed from that first point?
I mean, I'm so glad that I'm not in this beginning phase anymore, because it's extremely frustrating. I mean, you have to work so hard for so long to even get something that is like kind of okay,
Yeah.
and you really have to love the process in the beginning, I think, to be able to stick with it, to until the point you actually get good at it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I cannot quantify it. The understanding is completely different now. The technical aspect of it is like, yeah, it's second nature to me. I don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
And when you reach that point, then you of course, that never stops. You never stop learning on the technical or musical aspects. But then it gets really interesting, because then you can think about what is a good track, what is good music, how
Mhm.
do I do this, how do I create these emotions on the dance floor and all these things. And then it gets really interesting. Yeah. So I'm oh my god, when I think back, it was a tedious process to finish a track. It took me forever, and it was just frustrating. It was,
Yeah.
yeah.
What was what let me ask you this. What was more um what had more impact on you, finishing your first song, even if it wasn't a song that you released or anything like that, but your first, like, just your first Emanuel Satie song ever, we'll say, or the first time that you like beat matched two records on a turntable to make like a magical third song?
No, sure the finishing the first track.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, yeah, that's a big moment. Yeah, that's a big moment. You're really proud. You can finally show something,
Yeah.
and no, that's for sure. That was bigger. The first beat match was actually just mathematics for me.
Yeah.
I beat matched right away the first two records I had in front of me. I
Nice.
beat matched, and it was just because it was two loop. I saw it was just vinyls with loops on it,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and the person teaching me how to DJ just said, okay, so beat match the both of them, and I just figured out that they probably at the same speed, so I just put them exactly at the same speed, and they worked out. So it wasn't that
I
special
love
actually.
that.
It was just magic. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So do you prefer nowadays, do you prefer producing or DJing?
Wow. I have to say, I've always been more of a producer than a DJ,
Okay.
but lately I'm becoming more of a DJ than a producer somehow.
Nice.
And but I need both in my life,
Yeah.
absolutely. Like I love the balance of things. I love like being in the studio during the week where you really immerse yourself. You're with yourself. You get something out of yourself on a
Hmm.
piece of paper, a virtual piece of paper, and it's very like therapeutic process. It's kind of spiritual, very emotional and all these things. And then on the weekend it's the opposite. You get all this energy from outside of you, and you share energy with other people, and it's much more social. So I think both. I'm really both. I need both. Yeah.
That's incredible. I love that yes, that explanation of the difference between the two, how one is much more internal, one is much more external. That is that's a great way of describing it. Did you, getting into kind of the career side of music, did you have any, you said that you had never really planned on being a DJ when you first started getting into it. That wasn't even on your radar. Um, did you have any preconceived notions of what a music career would be like when you first got into it? And how has that experience differed from your expectation?
um That's a very good question, actually. That's very. I actually never really thought about that. Um, well, I think. Well, first of all, I think the industry has changed since then. So,
Hmm.
of course, my expectations back then were based on the industry as it was back then, and also at the time it was more. I had a more local impression,
Mm.
of what works. I would say something that has changed. Like when I started in the music industry, it was very much still the model that you need productions
Hmm.
to become
Hmm.
a DJ.
Yeah.
Now it has changed in a way that you don't productions are not that's still one path. You
Hmm.
can put out productions and then get gigs of those productions, but now you can also just be a DJ and have a good social media presence, like maybe have a catchy personality
Hmm.
and get gigs of that, so, or of your network or whatever, so more
Hmm.
this model that it used to be before. You can just be a DJ now without the
Yeah.
production, without the productions. So I think that has actually changed since then. And I mean, my expectations back then, I didn't really know what was what was going
Yeah.
on. I just knew I want to do this at some
Yeah.
point quite early. I knew I want to do this. I can do this, and then somehow I did it.
And somehow I
but
did it.
yeah, I had no idea what to expect, and yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, cool. So, getting back into the music, getting away from the career stuff, what your music has balance, the sounds that you use are a really nice balance of, synthesized and organic elements. And you've been pretty open in other interviews about your fondness for collaboration and all that as well, especially with a fair number of Ethiopian artists and other African artists as well. Does this interest in, or does your interest in kind of exotic, sometimes traditional themes, does that translate into other parts of your life as well?
What do you mean? Which other parts, for example?
I get well, and I guess we've kind of already touched on it actually. It kind of like in your travels, immersing yourself in like culinary scenes and all that. Even when you are just going about your day-to-day life, whether it's cooking a meal, do you enjoy exotic flavors in your own cooking? Do you like to push your boundaries when you're just existing in your day-to-day life?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, always, always. I love traveling.
Mhm.
I love seeing how other people live their lives, what their understanding of life is, what their culture is, and that starts with the food, goes over the music, and but it's also the way of life, the attitude. And now I'm moved out of Germany. I mean, I always traveled a lot, so
Mhm.
I had an understanding of, I had an open mind already that people see life differently wherever you are in the world. But
Yeah.
now I can really feel a difference since I moved to Portugal. It's just completely, yeah, it's quite different way of life. It's quite different attitude towards life, and I really enjoy that. And that's the ultimate experience, getting out of your comfort zone, is when you actually move out of your country to another place. And I think this is super important. I think traveling is very, very important. I think learning, interacting with other cultures is very important. And yeah, and these collaborations with the Ethiopian musicians, that was just one of these things. We didn't even know what to do or what we were doing. We just went there and recorded with them, and it was an amazing experience. It was super challenging to actually bring these sounds into this context of dance music, but that's what made it interesting, and that's what broadens your mind and gives you new ideas also for the future.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, the that pace of life, that way of living, like you're talking about in different cultures, I think that gives a lot of perspective when you get the opportunity to experience it, when it gives you the opportunity to see that there's there's much more to be understood outside of your own bubble. If you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that pace of life, that tempo of life, and the way that the average person in another culture lives just a regular day is very important, and because even if it might not seem strikingly different on the outside, from the outside perspective, the the space that they exist within themselves, going about a day, can be very different, and that's something that's very hard to understand until, like you said, you have actually fully immersed in the day and in that life. And it's hard to do that,
yeah,
just being there for a weekend. You got to be there
yeah.
for a little bit of time.
Yeah, you get a glimpse in a weekend, but you get
Yeah.
an idea of what it could be. But it's different when you live there, or you actually spend some time where, or you, like, even smaller. It doesn't need to be Ethiopia. Even that's quite a drastic difference, But even the the American mentality and the German mentality in business, for example. Now I'm
Hmm.
working with an American manager,
Hmm.
and I'm learning so many things just in the attitude towards business and negotiations and all these things.
Yeah.
I'm learning so much that I would have never seen it that way if I would have, yeah, just stayed in Germany and worked with German business partners. So all these things are interesting and help.
Yeah. Well, hey man, cheers to you for broadening your horizons at all ends. That's something that not everyone does. That can be very uncomfortable, and but it inspires growth. The best growth
Yeah,
always happens with a little discomfort. So here's to you for that one, man. So, what
Sounds
keeps
nice.
you excited and motivated as an artist? You know, what keeps you hungry as an artist with, you know, well over a decade of dance music experience at this point? What keeps you motivated and, you know, hungry?
I think it's always changing. You know,
Mhm.
the sounds are always changing. There's always new, exciting producers on the horizon that inspire you. And honestly, even without that, it's just the emotions of music is it's kind of addictive. You know,
Mhm.
to create these emotions, and it doesn't need much more than that. For me, it's a way to express myself, to yeah, to put my emotions on this virtual piece of paper, you know, and
Yeah.
create these worlds. This is for me, this is motivation enough. I don't need much. I don't need much more, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of exciting new and upcoming artists, you know, what advice might you have for up and coming producers and DJs? You know, that were in your shoes back when you were down in that basement just spinning records on the
Yeah,
weekend.
yeah. I mean, really, just try to have fun with it. Take it seriously, but have fun with it. The more you enjoy it, the more you will do it, and the more you will do it, the better and the quicker you will get good at it. And this is really the key. Like, and I mean, and the business side, don't ignore the business side. Don't just focus on music. Actually finish stuff. You know, it's not worth much if you just dabble all the time and you're just jamming all the time. You have to
Mm.
finish stuff, and actually put it out there. Put yourself out there. You know, take these risks and try to connect with people. Try to try to touch people. You know, and this is really the most important part in the beginning. But I would say that the most important thing is to really enjoy making music or playing, or yeah, enjoy what you do, because then you will do it more. And yeah, I think then the rest will come.
Amazing. So, Emmanuel, thank you so much for your time so far. I got one more thing for you. All right. We're going to do a quick little speed round of questions. All right. So, it's kind
Okay.
of going to be a this or that, would you rather? And we're just going to kind of bang through these really quick. They're going to be fun. They're not going to make you think too much. And
Okay,
then
let's
that's how
do
we're
it.
going to close out. All right.
Perfect.
Okay. So, speed round question number one, house or techno?
House.
Club or warehouse?
Oof. Warehouse.
All right. A rave or a festival?
Festival.
Digital or analog?
Digital. Sorry.
You're all good. DJing or producing?
Oh my God. I can't pick. I can't pick.
Okay.
Impossible.
Dream performance spot.
Dream performance spot. Wow. Also, so many good ones out there. I'm very bummed that Varung is not there anymore. It just burned down the other week.
Mhm.
That was a place that I really wanted to play still. I never played there. But yeah, that's so many others. Yeah.
Okay. Dream collaboration.
Dream collaboration. I always already have my dream collaborators. One of them is lying here on the sofa.
Oh, no way. What's up?
That's my scenarios crew. Of course, they are my dream collaborators. We
Love
guys
that.
have a really good time with each other, and we're super productive with each other. So yeah,
Yeah, man.
it's
Reading up about you guys and your all's process has been so refreshing, you know, and I love reading some of the interviews that y'all have done and talking about how um, the process is seems to be pretty darn organic, and that y'all are able to leave egos at the door and really be on the hunt together for the best music and the best sound possible.
yeah.
That
We
I
love
think
to
that's
hear
a
that.
Yeah, and that's really that's not a shtick. That's really how it is, and that's how it was from the first studio session. It's just it's really kind of an effortless process. Like if we get stuck, once one another person sits in the chair and just tries some stuff, and yeah, and in the end, something comes out that is not really the sound of one of us as a single artist, as a solo artist, but it's really the mix of all of us. And yeah, that's only possible if you leave the ego at the door and you just go for whatever's in the room at that time, you know.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. And that's a testament to collaboration right there. And we love to see it. We love to see that. So,
Yeah.
all right, next one. The last concert that you attended as a fan.
Oh my god, what was that? Oh my god, that's been at some time ago, I think. Like an actual concert.
Or a show. Or a show.
Or a show.
Yeah.
Well, I just went to. I cannot tell this. I just went to see Patrice Boimel on the weekend here
No
in
way.
Lisbon. But we actually went there way too early. We didn't know when he was playing. He put us on the guest list. We went there way too early, so we already were tired before we even showed up. So I didn't even see him. But it was.
Oh,
until then it
no.
was, yeah. So
Okay. So, all right. So the best concert that you've attended as a fan now.
best concert that I attended as a fan, I must say, that has been a Puff Daddy concert when I was maybe
Nice,
13 or
dude.
something.
Oh, I bet that was a great concert. Wow.
Yeah, that's still in my mind. He was actually still called Puff Daddy at that point. Yeah, and
Nice,
it was
dude.
I went with my father, and that's still in my mind. Yeah, that was
That's great.
amazing.
That's great. So, what is your drink of choice?
Drink of choice, at the moment it's Coke Zero actually.
Coke Zero. We love it. We love it. A timeless classic. Okay.
Refreshing, energizing, and
Yeah.
without calories. So,
There you go. Without the calories. Okay. So you walk into a house party, okay, and someone hands you the aux cord. What song are you going to play to get the party going?
Emanuel Satie, Planet XXX.
There it is. Okay. So now it's the end of the night. So it's the other side now. It's the end of the night and the house party is winding down. What song are you closing the night with?
I know exactly which one, but I don't know the. Well, I need to check the name if I might. Wait, give me 1 second, please.
Do it, man. Do what you got to do.
Because okay, what does it feel like? Royksop Return to the Sun remix.
All right. Heck yeah, man.
It's
Okay.
the perfect.
That's the perfect end of the night, end of the house party song.
Yeah.
All right, we love it. Okay, what is a secret talent that you have?
Secret talent. I'm a good chess player.
Good chess player. All right. I am not a good chess player, so I applaud you for that one. So, if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead, alive, past or present, who would it be?
Kanye West for the entertainment value. Although no, not anymore. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
He's uninvited now.
It still might be entertaining, but from a shock value perspective.
Yeah, no. He went too far recently.
Yeah.
I must say, I mean, to have Steve Jobs at the table would be pretty interesting, bringing back from the dead.
Mhm.
I would love to have Michael Jordan on there.
Okay.
And Muhammad Ali as well.
Oh, nice. I have a Muhammad Ali poster up in my house right now that I've had for years. And yeah, that's talk about inspirational, man. Moved mountains, and he wasn't even trying to move mountains. He was just trying to box and live his life. But wow, what not inspirational. Yes, inspirational, but what's the word I'm looking for? It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, man moved mountains. I'm sure I'll think the word will come to me as soon as we stop recording, and it's gonna annoy me, but it's okay. So, all right.
He's been influential in so many different ways.
Influential. There it is. Thank you. There it is.
No, but seriously, he not only has he been an amazing athlete, you know, and this alone is amazing what he achieved, but also politically what he did, and just in terms of his influence on society, and I mean, it's incredible what the guy did.
Yeah. So, what is your favorite food?
My favorite food, I'm gonna say Maultaschen.
Okay. Heck
Probably
yeah.
know what it is.
No, I
That's a
don't.
that is a German dumpling.
A
It's from the
German
south.
dumpling.
It's a German dumpling. It's
Okay.
delicious.
Well, when I'm in
It's
Germany this summer, I'll have to. What was the name of it?
Maultasche.
Maultasche.
Maultasche. Yeah. Just Google German dumpling. It's the only
Okay.
one you
German
find.
dumpling. Got it. Okay. What's your favorite color?
Favorite color is blue.
All right. Love it. Same here. All right. Favorite or what is your go-to karaoke song?
Um, Perfect Day.
Perfect Day by
From
by
oh my god. See, now you caught me off guard.
because I need to go look it up
I need to
afterwards. I
see
need to go
that
look it
song.
up. I need to go hear the song
Yeah,
that you're karaokeing.
yeah. I don't know
Okay.
right now.
Okay. So what is something that you earnestly love?
Music, foods, many more things. But
Yes, the
music, I have to say, I really love music. People
lo,
as well. Really love
lo,
people.
heck
All
yeah.
their flaws.
Now, what is something that earnestly annoys you? Just a little, like, what's a pet peeve? What's a pet peeve of yours?
Traffic, you
Traffic.
know,
Oh,
other participants in traffic. I can. Yeah, this gets me. This
yeah,
gets me.
that is when we are at one of our lowest points as humans is in the middle of
Yeah,
a traffic jam.
I don't know what's happening when you think nobody sees you, but you're sitting in this glass box,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Okay. So would you rather face off against one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
one horse-sized duck for sure.
One horse-sized duck. You think you got a better chance against one horse-sized duck?
It's much more manageable, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So what is something that you're proud of yourself for?
I mean, honestly, just being in this music game, and have a, being at a point where I can make a good living from it, and that's a pretty crazy journey, you know, and that I had the courage back then. I sometimes thank my younger self that he had the courage to get this journey started. And he stuck with it, so it's one of the things that I'm proud of. Yeah.
Awesome. On the flip side of that, what is an area in which you hope to grow?
Being in traffic.
Being a traffic.
I mean, hey, like every aspect of life I hope to grow. I'm constantly trying to evolve as a human being, as an artist, as a professional, as a friend, as a boyfriend, as a son, as a brother, you know. um yeah, I mean, you have to keep growing in every way, otherwise yeah, I mean, you deflate, kind of, you know, if you don't grow.
100%. We get stale.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, and our very last question. Before I die, I want to blank.
I want to have kids.
Awesome. Well, Emanuel Satie, thank you so much for joining us, my friends. It's been an absolute pleasure. This has been a great conversation, man. I had fun.
Thank you. Yeah, me too. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, Gray Area fans, thank you for joining us for another episode of Gray Area's Artist Spotlight series. I've been Austin Miller. This has been Emanuel Satie. He will be joining us in April at Superior Ingredients in New York, and we are so excited for this performance. So, Emmanuel, I hope you have a fantastic day, and thank you again for joining us, my friend.
Wish you the same. Take care. See you soon.
Bye-bye.